All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're back to playing deltagreen tonight, continuing our What Lies We Tell campaign, and we're doing so without Agent Inferno. And we were doing our best Agent Inferno impressions before coming on. So would anybody like to give their Agent Inferno impression right now? Anyone want to volunteer for that?
It's me, Inferno.
There we go. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Stephen. My tray.
No, I was saying I think I'm gonna be canceled for a bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Faking an Italian accent is real low on those.
For sure.
I've been canceled so many times. One more won't matter.
Oh my god! You just gotta do it. Go ahead, Ashley. Do it. Did I told you to do it? Oh, you guys are so scared. Man, chickens.
Agent Agabadigo.
There we go. Agabadigo.
There we go.
I got you, Ashley.
It's like he's here. It's like he's here.
I laughed so hard I gave myself the hiccups.
Oh my god. This is so funny. My my mother's side is very Italian. And so I can't remember what cousin or uncle said it, but I remember it stuck with me as a kid. Like, one of the ways to sound like really offensively Italian is just to say the word gabagool, add an extra syllable, and sound like you're straining and taking a shit at the time. And there you go. You sound gabagool. It's really bad. Anyhow, that's what we think of Agent Luca, Dante, Inferno. So anyhow, but he'll be back next time. Maybe. Who knows? After he sees this, Lon could be very upset. But that's that.
That's his final straw.
Could be.
For the man who's never ever upset about anything, that's going to be it. All of us trying
Long
to
in his trademark anger management issues.
You know how he is. He's very mean. Whenever he used to play board games at our house, there's a reason why we don't do it anymore. A table can only be flipped so many times. It really can. It's true.
It's on the other foot now, Jeff. Okay.
It is. Look at you. Look at you. We get that. Oh, goodness. We played board games yesterday. Melissa and I. We played 19 hours of the 24 hours of Plum Island Horror. It's a very long game. We won the second one, asterisk by it, though. There's kind of a weird edge case that we can't find
a rule that says we didn't. So
Melissa's definitely in the we won category, and I'm more like in the I don't think we really won category. Yeah. It was pretty close though.
It's been almost 24 hours and we haven't found a rule that says. I even looked today to see if there was some other different thing.
I looked for an hour last night, then I woke up, first thing I did this morning, get on my phone and started looking some more. Because I just wanted to know. I want to be official
in this house, Jeff. We fail forward.
I want to be official. Why don't we do
fail, you cheat, right, Melissa?
It's true. That's what Melissa does.
We did lose the first time, but I think we did okay the second.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stephen.
We did very well the second.
Command initiated.
All right. Let's do a quick intro really fast. Just say who you're playing. We don't do these very often, but we have a couple new agents, so let's do those for a couple sessions so we get familiarized with them. So Melissa, tell us who you're playing.
Oh gosh, I'm first because Long isn't here. So I am playing real name Andy Dunham, but agent name Olivia Carr. She actually is in the FBI. I have never been in the FBI, so my role play of someone who's actually in the FBI will continue to be like D level. But in theory, she is in the FBI and knows how to do FBI stuff and investigation stuff and interrogation stuff, at least by the stats.
We'll see. FBI agents, we've had them in the party before. Things don't usually go well for them. I don't know what it is. I think because I actually played an FBI agent, immediately got kicked out of the FBI during Possible Landscapes.
I did.
Just got kicked out, and then I won't spoil it too much in case you haven't watched our Impossible Landscapes. Interesting fate for Ashley, for good old Agent Chelsea.
She got fucked up. Let's just say that.
Yeah, well, let's be fair. It's Impossible Landscapes. All y'all got that's
true.
I want to run it again so bad. I really do. My trait. Tell us about Agent Chopra.
I'm gonna follow Mel's lead here. So her real name is Devi Sukumar, and her agent name is Agent Katrina Chopra, and she is not with the FBI. She is with Lockheed Martin and would much rather spend time with engines and grease and threaded bolts than with people who want to talk to her about stuff. She's not super great with people.
So literally like all of us before we went on the stream when we were talking about not being Steven, give us a word or two about Agent Price.
Yeah, so Agent Price, Vincent Price is an ex-CIA agent. Agent Palmer is his FBI cover name. And unlike Melissa, who has never been in the FBI, I have been in the CIA, so I know exactly what I'm doing. And Jeff, if you tell me I'm doing something wrong, I'm going to have to correct you because I actually know because I am in the CIA.
So you don't even know your own name because you called yourself Vincent Price, and once again, you were called your agent's name is Arnold Price, and your real name is Vincent Palmer.
So long that all these names are meaningless to me. They're all interchangeable.
I mean, it's literally on the overlay, but that's fine.
It's just like his age. It's just a number.
Steven keeps trying to claim that Agent Price is not old, but he is. He has to be. Like, whatever.
He's 45. 45.
No, he's not. He says he's 45. He's got to be at least 55. No way. He's
Don't
45.
believe you. Don't believe you.
None of it makes sense. The timeline wouldn't even add up. There's no way you would have been working with certain people like Roddy Lightside stuff. So anyhow,
I was young. I was still a rookie.
You were 14. You were just getting into high school.
A rookie.
Oh my god.
I graduated early.
Okay. All right. Sure. CIA recruitment pretty heavy in middle school. All right, Ashley, give us a word or two about Agent Weaver, and then we'll get started.
Speaking of Young, her real name is Lisa Young, and her DG agent name is Blair Weaver, and her FBI fake name is Special Agent Alice Davis. And she's kind of big depressed right now. Her daughter left her to go live with her ex-boyfriend. Her life's in shambles. She's being accused of having a drug addiction. And so now she had to leave, it was drug addiction. And then she had to leave her hometown, so she's missing meetings. So it's going to look like she went on another bender, and it's just going to continue to get worse.
And didn't you try to befriend the person who ran those meetings, and she went missing? No one saw her.
Yeah. Lisa doesn't know that she's dead, but we know.
I didn't say she was dead. No one said she was dead. I've said it a billion times that in Delta Green, you could kill anybody. That's super easy. That's not the fun part, nor the challenging part. The fun part is just unraveling them in every possible way. Mentally, physically, everything. And just destroying them slowly, whittling down over several sessions / years. And that's what I'm doing to Luca. So Luca, he's got like 7 sanity or whatever it is. I could have killed him at any time. It's more fun to watch him just unravel completely. It's more fun. Okay. Anyhow,
he's getting there. He is getting there.
He is. Long is not in great shape in either one of our games in terms of Lovecraftian games. He's in bad shape in both. Okay, except women keep hitting on him in Call of Cthulhu for some reason.
I think that's just you, Jeff.
We all like a dangerous man, and he's missing a finger. He looks like he might be in the mob, might be a barber for real. Who knows?
You know what sucks is last weekend we were going to play Call of Cthulhu without Steven, okay, which meant we were going to have that meeting with Elena where I was going to have her just hit on Long like crazy. And now
that's right.
We're playing without Long and with Steven. So wet blanket time. There we go.
That just means you get to flirt with yourself for like
isn't there.
That's true. He isn't there. And he never will be. right. Wrong game. Let's get back to Delta Green.
Party all over again.
It is. It really is. Okay, let's get back to it. We're playing Delta Green tonight. So last time around, your handler, we had just finished up your debriefing for this new operation, Windblown, and your handler had left this conference room within this nondescript Sky Harbor Airport business complex. And you all, the reformed G cell, you started to offer each other some introductions, etc. But you got quickly interrupted by this trio of birds smashing their heads into the window outside the conference room, breaking their necks. You found them, you dispatched the bodies, you put them in a dumpster, and then you arranged for some travel northward to Kingman. You got a couple of vehicles, including one with 4-wheel drive. Travel was relatively quick, uneventful. You did some light social media research. There wasn't a ton you could do along the way. So you learned a little bit about the Congresswoman, about some of these kids, etc., and went through the file that you were given by your handler, Lyda Hall. Agent Carr, you also made a phone call to the Mojave County Sheriff, the office at the very least, and you tried to set up a meeting for when you first arrive. But once you all did get to Kingman, you decided not to go immediately to the sheriff's office. Instead, you went shopping for guns and survival gear at a local outfitter called Desert Assurance. That dude's so confused right now. He's like,
we
I
were
remember Inferno's like, hey,
local
I got
economy.
an FBI badge. Give me your guns. It's so ridiculous. Are you guys together? Not together?
Great moment. Oh my god.
It was so dumb. Okay, yeah. We were
I
all
just
dumb.
don't want to
Me
be
too,
lumped
'cause,
in together because I wasn't trying to do any shopping. I was
Yeah.
willing to wait in the car. It was the rest of the group.
That's fair.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Anyhow, owner offered you some basic info about the search, the circus of town, all that kind of stuff. Then you found your way through some media vans, some stand-ups and stuff like that, and you found the sheriff's office, but you missed Sheriff Gus. But you spoke with one of his deputies and a civilian scientist that were helping to coordinate the search for these missing student hikers. Morale had apparently gone low because Jeremy Benton, who they discovered alive, he hasn't been able to provide any additional information, no new signs of any of these hikers. And it's been like a week at this point, and no one feels good. No one thinks they're going to find anything good at this point. So the deputy, the scientist, that did provide you a couple things. He gave you some GPS data from Nick's old GPS device. It had been recently replaced for Christmas last year, but they gave you some of that detail, and they had a few landmarks, both known and unknown, near the trailhead where they had disappeared. And then you also got a flash drive with an audio message, with an audio track of a voicemail that Sharon Delaney, mother of one of the missing hikers, and Delaney, says she received a few days ago after they had gone missing. And it was very weird, very strange. Something about it that just didn't quite add up. Later, you got some rooms at, I think it was Best Western. Carr, Chopra, you began studying the audio recording. Price, Inferno, Weaver, you headed to the Hampton Inn, which was putting up the parents of the missing hikers. You started talking with Congresswoman Karras, Victoria Karras, who is Congresswoman in Arizona's 1st District. And she thinks that her son Nick's disappearance might have something to do with threats that her office has been receiving over the past several months. She gave you a dossier for that. Weaver, you spoke with Nick's father, Paul. You had a nice little rapport with him, actually, and he revealed that Nick and Anne, two of the hikers, had been in a relationship for a while, and that Anne had got pregnant. And then Paul quietly helped them and supported them through the process of finding someone to get an abortion from without alerting the mother. Despite the hour then, Price, Weaver, you decided to speak with some of the other families in the hotel. And like we said, I think it was the Delaney family you were going to go talk to. Meanwhile, Inferno found some space in the hotel lobby to start reading through the Congresswoman's packets, these big old dossiers of threats that her office has received. So he's flipping through that in the lobby somewhere. Back at the Best Western, Chopra, Carr, you got stumped a little bit by the sound at first. You knew something was up, but you couldn't quite figure it out. You knew you had a feeling that there was something else underlaid beneath the sounds that you were hearing on the track, but you couldn't quite figure it out. But then a thump at the window distracted you, and it was another dead bird. You went outside, and then you noticed a coyote that was carrying it away in its mouth into the desert. Carr, you followed. You lost it in the dark and nearly got caught up in this little whirlwind of dust. Chopra, you were looking at these motorcycles that had fallen, then righted themselves, and then eventually fell again. You saw some guy drive away on a bike, this denim-clad, middle-aged indigenous man, and the bites fell again, and then you got blamed by a group of bikers who were returning to the hotel after getting dinner at, and this is true, KFC. And then you went back inside. You found that the door to your room was open, and there was a dead bird on your laptop keyboard. The audio file had apparently been altered. Whatever things you were trying to do to the waveform suddenly worked. And you saw that there were a series of beeps and different sounds that were playing underneath the voicemail. When you started digging into it, the two of you discovered that there was in fact a code. And the code read Echo 19 Echo 7. Echo 19 Echo 7, team compromised. Installation confirmed. Entity confirmed. Reinforcements requested. Rally point alpha. Okay? So, we're going to pick up, I'm going to pick up there with the two of you, with Carr, Chopra. You've just listened to this track. You are in the room. You did a quick sweep. Both of you did a sweep. You feel confident that there is nobody in this small room. You looked in the bathroom. You looked in the closet, which isn't quite that big. Looking under the beds. No one's there. You're fairly confident. What are the two of you want to do?
Okay. There's no one here. Like there's no one there could be hiding.
Chopra's like real, like eyes, like forehead crunched and like looking at the waveform, and she's written down what they heard, like Echo 7, Echo 19, like she has that written down. And she's gonna look at that, taps on it. Echoes E, right? Echoes the military, like phonetic for E, and it was ESO that we need to follow up.
Yes, it was ESO.
We should see if is it this my term is it Lane or Leahy? That was the last name.
Your handler?
Lida?
You have a business card for her. You have a business card for her.
Thank you.
Lida Hall. You also have, I would say, probably in the house. I doubt they brought it with them to the other hotel. So in your hotel, you should also have the dossier that you were given at your debriefing, which includes that Operation Quicksand summary where you remember reading about Team or Cell Echo.
Right.
Okay. So this was 1970 was Operation Quicksand. So this is June 1970, just to say that.
What the hell?
And this is still the voicemail
And
that was just received.
Rally Point Alpha has coordinates. It has to. It has to have coordinates. That's what a rally point is.
That would make sense. That would make sense.
To
So
jump in
team
really
compromised.
fast.
Yes.
Let me just jump in really fast. For the two of you would know this as agents of Delta Green. That is fairly common. It's fairly common procedure for a Delta Green cell. That when they initiate on an operation, one of the first things they do is they establish a rally point. And sometimes multiple rally points, so that if they get separated or something happens, they know where to go. And you two would definitely understand that kind of language.
Okay. So, is it reasonable then to say that I'd like to send an email to Lida Hall saying that we've heard this message, this is what it says, can you give us any more information about the team or Operation Quicksand, what they were installing, if there was any more details about the entity, and coordinates of Rally Point Alpha? Like those pieces of, like, requesting that specific information if she has it, if she can share it.
Requesting that information makes a lot of sense. You would probably not send that in email.
Okay.
You know, that's the type of thing you would probably call for a phone. You might do a phone is probably more secure than that
Makes
sending an
sense.
email out because you're on a
It
public
does.
network right now. So things
Yeah.
like that might.
Yeah. Sorry,
true.
that was again.
Mhm.
That's a multi miss.
Yeah, I think it's the type of thing that you would definitely contact a handler and maybe get more info on, possibly, or something like that.
I'd love to if there's no like massive reticence from Melissa. I'd like to, or
Yeah.
pardon me.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
we
like
may
to-
gather more information. So my guess is that the installation that's confirmed is probably, if their objective was to ascertain the existence of an M12 facility, that might be what they're saying is confirmed. Installation is confirmed, that they perhaps found the facility that they were
Yes.
looking for. Entity confirmed, though, is definitely a little bit of extra information.
Concerning because they are
Yes.
requesting reinforcements.
Exactly.
They
So yeah,
should
I
know
think
if they got reinforcements.
that would make sense. Definitely to make a phone call over. You want to call Lyda, and I'll search the room, see if I can sweep if there's any bugs or anything that might have gotten left in this room. I'll do a
bird,
quick switch.
Do you want to look at this bird?
Sure. I will make myself useful. And
the other ones had like a scar or something.
you're right. You're right. They absolutely did. I will take a look at this and see if it has the exact same thing here. So yes, Agent Carr will kind of look at the bird and see if it shares the same markings as the three birds that flew themselves into the
I'd
window
like to think
down in
Chopra,
Phoenix.
like unceremoniously
Just
the
handing me
bird
this
without
bird.
touching it.
So you're looking. So what are you looking for specifically? Say it again.
So when I had looked at the other birds, the three birds in Phoenix, there was like a similar mark on all of them. And so I'm looking to see if this bird
Like
shares
scrapes
that.
and like there was like scrapes and yeah. Give me a. Well, what's your search or medicine? Either one of those is probably okay.
Search is 50, medicine is zilch squad.
Okay. Search, no roll necessary. You got no one's trying to take it from you. You've got time, and you can very carefully kind of comb through it. And you do, in fact, see very similar wounds. So basically, what it looks like, it looks like healed over like claw marks or talon marks. Like it's definitely like it's been in a fight or got attacked and survived and long. Like it's kind of similar. And you can also tell that the bird's neck is broken. It has the same sort of MO than the ones that you found outside in Phoenix.
Yeah. Fly into a window and fall down. Broken neck. Okay. And then I also, while Agent Chopra makes her phone call, I want to do a search of the room for any like listening devices, recording devices, any of those kinds of things that, since we had an intruder in the room, did they leave anything?
That I will want a search roll for, please.
Okay. Oh, we're at an 83 over 50. Damn it.
Okay. I will say while Chopra, you're kind of calling or devising some method for contacting Chopra, Carr, you look at all the usual spots. You look at outlets, you look at underneath light lampshades, things like that. Underneath like a table or a desk or a countertop, nothing. You're pretty confident that is a clean room.
Okay. Thank you.
Chopra, so if you call the number that's listed, because you do have a business card with Lyda Hall's number. Do you want to call that number?
Please.
Okay. So when you call it, you hear kind of an automated message pop up. And it says, and it basically says something along the lines of, please input the number of your party. And it's like outside hours kind of deal. So it's like an automated message. You would know that you are now a member of G Cell. And so your number would literally be to spell out G on the phone. But G in these terms, much like Echo, would be golf. And so you would spell out and you would type that out. So a G is a 4, an O is a 6, an L is a 5, and an F is a 2. And so you spell that out as your extension, and it rings twice. Phone picks up, and you hear a woman's voice on the other line. What's the issue?
We found something hidden in a voicemail or a signal or something that is giving us some more information that I wanted to get some details on.
What's the issue?
I'll relay the message in full, but Echo 1 and Echo 17. Wonder if there's more information about E-Cell that you can share with us, or this entity, or the coordinates for the rally point.
Request received. We'll contact you shortly. And the phone hangs up.
Okay.
Very businesslike, doesn't chit-chat, and off she goes.
Okay.
With that, we're going to cut over to some chit-chat, where Weaver and Price have just knocked on the door of the room that you've got for the family of Anne Delaney, who is one of the missing hikers and is the one who had a relationship with Nick Karras, and you've just learned, like literally within the last half an hour, that the two of them, with the support of Nick's father Paul, managed to get her an abortion some months ago. So the door opens up, and I think it's just the two of you, right? Because we sent his name, that guy.
We don't need him.
Inferno's down in the
Inferno.
lobby, reviewing the piles of information.
He's not here. We don't have to refer to him as Inferno.
You see the door open up, and you can see that there is a bald African American man, kind of lighter skin, a very clearly dyed black goatee. You would probably put him in his 50s. Think like an older Common, if you're familiar with the actor or the performer. You can see that he has on what appears to be like sweats for pants, and then an undershirt of some kind. And he looks extremely tired. And not like you woke him up, but he just looks tired. His face seems drained of any kind of energy. But when he opens the door, he does so like quickly, like with a level of urgency. And his eyes are wide, and he looks at the two of you, doesn't recognize. Is there news?
Are you Mr. Delaney?
Yeah, I'm Jack. What?
Apologies for the late hour. My name's Agent Price. This is Agent Weaver. We're with the FBI. We only just got here, so we're trying to save every minute we can. We'd like to interview you and your wife if possible.
So you don't have any news?
No news at this time, sir.
You see, like, his posture just sort of, like, deflates. And he calls back, and he says, Sharon, it's the FBI. And you hear, like, a woman in the back, and, like, they have a nicer room than you. It's like a suite, kind of, so there's, like, a little kitchenette and everything. And you see beyond him, there is a very slender, like almost like sickly slender, brunette woman, Caucasian. You can tell she hasn't slept either. Her hair is like a mess, like this fray of, kind of brunette, light brown, almost red hair, auburn kind of hair that you can see that she hasn't bothered. It's got like strings and such hanging down. And she calls out and she says, "Let him in." And he steps out of the way and lets you two in. The room itself is, again, it's like a little mini apartment, small kitchenette on the left as you come in, and then there's the bathroom, and then it kind of opens up a bit into sort of a seating area with like a small circular dining table, and then a actual couch. There's a flat screen TV that is hung on the wall. You can see that they've closed the curtains in here, and then there's a mini hall that goes down to what you presume is probably the bedroom. And you look down and you can't really see it. There might be a light under the door, that sort of thing. You can see there's all sorts of bags for like takeout and such here and there. Some of it you can tell hasn't been eaten, some of it has. The TV is off currently. and you see that there is like a bottle, an uncorked bottle of wine that is on the table, along with what looks like two big gulp kind of glasses or cups, and they're kind of filled up with the liquid. And they're kind of going through what looks like some photos and such. They've got like a photo album of Anne, and they've got like all sorts of things, and you can tell that they're extremely distressed. And the woman, Sharon, she speaks up. Did you learn something? Please, did Jeremy finally talk?
We only just arrived on the case. We're here to interview you and provide reinforcements, so to speak. Sorry to impose. Is there a coffee machine in here?
Yeah, kitchen. And she points, and it's like, again, kitchenette, and you can see that there is a coffee maker over there.
I'll start making coffee for everyone.
And you can tell that both of them have like some discoloration on their teeth. Like they've been drinking. Like they're probably extremely tired and etc. But yeah, you'll make coffee, no problem. And so then she turns to you. Why are you? I don't understand. Why are we getting interviewed again? We've been interviewed half a dozen times.
I do apologize. We just need to ask some additional questions.
Okay.
If you prefer, we can come back in the morning, but
no. If it helps, fine. Ask her questions. You can tell she's being a little bit nicer about it, but like every now and then you can tell the husband, Jack, is looking like he's going to say something, but instead he just sits down at the table and pulls the drink towards him.
Ma'am, I know it's frustrating and I apologize, but sometimes when you answer the same question 6 times, you answer it in different ways, and sometimes the different ways you answer things can lead to a break in the case. So we have to jump through the hoops here, but we're going to do our best to find your child.
Okay.
So we're aware of your daughter's relationship with Nick. Did you or her happen to receive any threats as well as the Congresswoman by their relationship?
You can see like her face, like she's listening, and you mentioned the Congresswoman and she kind of makes a face. It was threats? What do you mean? What kind of threats?
She's not a very well-liked woman.
And you hear like Jack, like as he's bringing this like Burger King extra large to his mouth filled with wine. Got that right. And takes a drink. And Sharon continues, no. I don't think so. Like, I mean, she never mentioned anything to me. And he finishes his drink at the table. Me either.
Okay.
Could you give us a little bit more background about the relationship between your daughter and the Congresswoman's son? How long they've been together? How serious was it?
At least, I think a year or more. I think. I don't know. I don't know if kids these days define it in the same way that we did, but they've been. He's been in the orbit for at least 2 years. They met when her second year, and that's 2 years. So 2 years maybe, but I don't think they've always been together. Maybe they were in the beginning, or they weren't. But at least they've known each other for 2 years.
Would she talk about him often? Did she confide in you about her relationship?
I mean, yeah, she Anne's not a very, she's been struggling, even before Anne had an abortion. You know that, right? I assume that's why you're asking these questions.
Yes.
But even before that, Anne, college is great for people, but horrible for others. And for a while, Anne's been on antidepressants. All throughout college. A month in, maybe. Celexa, I think. She's very creative, and she's very sensitive to other people's needs, their emotions and things, but I think that somehow she doesn't separate. You know, she's very empathetic. And you hear Jack, I don't know where she got that from, as he takes another gulp. And she just kind of motors past, and like you can see her eyes kind of roll a little bit. But Nick's fine. Like he's okay. He's not. He's a kid who grew up with that as a mother. So considering that's probably pretty good. But
how much did she tell you about this trip that she was going on?
Well, Nick's done it before, apparently, with some friends. Anne didn't go last year because we had a family affair. But Nick's done it before, and we were supportive. We thought it would help her. She needed to go be with their friends or whatever it is. Do things that kids need to do.
Did she mention anything about the route or the path they were taking? I know Nick had some nicknames for a few of the sites they wanted to see. She talked about any of those?
No. No, like Nick had it planned, and then Michael, he's good at that stuff. Him and his mother are like, I'd say they're preppers if she wasn't like a college professor, apparently. But other than that, like, no. So they were like,
I thought she was credit. I know a few kooky college professors.
I don't know if that's true. They're all very intelligent, and really, it's a respected field. I don't quite care for your tone. And then she pulls out a gun and shoots you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
She ignores Price and looks towards Weaver at that point, because Price has offended her. I'm just kidding. You can either of you can ask questions.
So, was the abortion something that was consensual that your daughter also wanted to have, or
we talked about it as a family, and we talked to Nick and we talked to Paul. I can't believe that he is married to that thing, but we talked about it, and she made a decision. It's a hard decision, but she made it, and it was an informed one, and we didn't put pressure. We're not religious people. We don't have strong feelings. She's a young woman, and she gets to make the decision, and she did.
You mentioned that she was on antidepressants. Do you know if they were planning on taking any recreational drugs? Sometimes those interfere with the antidepressants.
You hear again from the table, like the dad just kind of like coughs under his breath, chuckles. And he says, there are a bunch of 21, 22-year-old kids driving to Vegas and stopping on some kind of freaking Vision Quest thing, whatever it is. You can tell he's like pissed and tired. Like, I don't know. Nick she said something about, I don't know, like they were some sort of local legend thing. But she promised not to mix. She's a grown, so like Sharon interrupts, she's a grown woman. We trust her. We know the reality of the situation.
Do you know which local legend it was that they were referring to? I know that could potentially lead us to some spots.
I don't know. I don't remember. Anne didn't really care. It was Nick who cared. I don't know. Some guy, he had an experience out in the desert, so they wanted to recreate it. A bunch of folks do it, apparently. It's a thing. It's something here. It's just an excuse for people to go into the desert and take drugs, probably, but...
True. Okay. I'll have to double check and make sure that they've checked all of those locations. And she kind of like mutters this towards Palmer. So you said, oh, sorry. My internet like freaked out for a second. Did you have any other additional questions?
No, I think that about covers it. And I look towards the father specifically. What do you think happened?
What do I think happened? She kind of just looks up at Sharon and she just kind of shrugs. I think one of them boys, they think they're so clever. This one or that one, Nick probably, if not Michael or maybe Jeremy, even one of them got some things that they shouldn't have got. And now it's, you know, like when you're in the FBI, I don't feel like I can say these things to you.
We're not here to prosecute anyone. You tell us anything you want.
Whoever they got stuff from, it probably wasn't what they said it was. They had a bad reaction. It clashed with her this or that. They probably mixed like they weren't supposed to, and they went all fucking crazy. And then the Benton kid, Jeremy, he's the only one that shows up. Pretty convenient, you think? Pretty convenient. And doesn't know anything, just babbling like an idiot. Sounds like an overdose to me. They say dehydration, but they've had him on fluids since they found him. He's not dehydrated anymore. Hiding something. That's what I think happened. And now he's trying to cover it up by playing the sympathy card, the victim card.
Well, he's our next stop. So I appreciate your time, both of you. I'm sorry to continue this drawing out this process, but we're going to find your daughter as fast as we can.
Sure you are. And like, you hear her be like, don't say that. And he's just, whatever. You gonna do something with that coffee? Do you come to everyone's rooms, make coffee and just leave it there?
I'll take the pot with me.
So you go over, grab the pot, and you leave. Okay. Where do you guys go next? And we'll say it's like 10:30, 10:45, almost 11 maybe. Something like that.
Lisa will look at Vin. Should we head back? Because we're still waiting on an appointment to be able to go see the kid at the hospital.
Yeah, not much else we can do this late. Head back, recover, go to the hospital first thing in the morning.
Yeah, let's snag like some pizza or something on the way.
Yeah, I could use more coffee too.
So we'll say that the two of you, you pick up Inferno, who's in the lobby, who's been reading through these giant stacks. It's gonna take him a while. You get into your car, you head back, you pick some food up along the way, and eventually we'll say the five of you are reunited. It's maybe 11:30 at night, so all of you are next to or close enough to each other that you can communicate. Is there anything more that you all wanted to do tonight before we move it forward?
Just
I would say, yeah, exactly. Just sharing, that we, kind of just the events of the night. And, we'll definitely, I assume Chopra and Carr would play the recording for
Sure.
Price and Weaver.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's from 1970.
Like Steven said, debrief.
Okay.
Time's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Do you guys want a scene at the debrief, or are we fast forward?
No.
No.
Yeah, we're just going to the morning.
Okay, so then we'll say you all retreat to your respective rooms. However, you're divvying that up, and you'll sleep. You'll plan to get up very early if you wanted to try to catch the sheriff before searching and such. Morning will come around, and I'm going to turn to Chopra as one of the things you notice when you wake up in the morning is that you have a text message. It is from a unknown number, but when you check it, and it is a series of numbers in the text. When you look at the numbers, especially considering your profession, they're coordinates, GPS coordinates.
Okay. We'll go to my laptop and see if I can figure out where the coordinates
Sure.
point to.
Yeah, no rolls needed. This is all pretty simple stuff for you, I think. You are able, like when you punch them in and you kind of go through, you see that it is a local address that it gives you, in fact, or a local area southeast of Kingman, of like the business center area where you're at. Southeast, you can see it's not like in the desert necessarily, but it's in the kind of scattered outskirts where there's like homesteads, ranches, things like that, maybe some industrial stuff. But you can see that it seems to correspond to about 15 minutes southwest of maybe 20 minutes of the southeast of Kingman proper.
Okay. So I will say out loud to everybody. I think later I'll get back to me with the relative coordinates. And we'll kind of point at the screen to indicate where it is.
Excellent. We'll add that to our list of things to check out after we've talked to the sheriff and interviewed Jeremy.
Yeah.
Who's going where?
So Agent Carr is her human is 80. So I was assuming that would probably fit well with chatting with Jeremy, perhaps. So that was, from a stats perspective, I think Agent Carr would probably go to the hospital.
Well, I play by personality rather than stats, and Agent Price.
Since when do you have personality with your characters? We talked over you. Sorry, go ahead. Say it again.
So I think I would go visit Jeremy as well.
Can't wait. Steven and Melissa going off together on a sub quest. Okay, yeah, that's no problem. You can do that. That is the Kingman Regional Medical Center is where they've been. And you've got the deputy at the sheriff's office at the Mojave County Sheriff's Office, so they would put you on the list. So your FBI names and clearance on the list to speak with Ben. Okay. So if that's the case, Chopra, Weaver, what do you two want to do?
I guess.
Do you want to talk to the sheriff, or do you want to check out these coordinates?
We did say we'd hit up the sheriff, and we already missed meeting with him once before.
It's true, we did.
So I figured we'll do that, and then we'll hit up the coordinates.
My Trey's so excited about the coordinates.
I know.
I really am. I just want to see
They're not going anywhere.
Biker again. Like, that's really my game.
All right, so we'll split off. We'll start with Chopra, Weaver. I'll say I'll give you credit. Say you got up around dawn or just before dawn. That's when you were instructed to, if you wanted to be part of if they're going to still do search teams, then they wanted to do that about then. But we'll say the two of you get up and you head over to the sheriff's county. I'm going to 50-50 to see who Inferno goes with. He's going to go... who's that? Weaver? Okay, he's going to go with Weaver, so Inferno's here as well. Okay, so 3 of you are headed. And you go through the same process. Like, it's not as... Like, the media frenzy is a little bit more subdued this morning, probably because it's so early still. Like, the sun's barely creeping up. It is very warm nonetheless, but it's not nearly as hot as it's going to be in a few hours. And so it's one of the reasons why they start so early. You can see that there are several Sheriff's County vehicles here, SUVs, in addition to like your normal vehicles and such. It looks like they're getting ready to travel. But when you come inside, you see like the desk sergeant and everything kind of flash your badge. We don't got to go through the whole thing. And when you are led into the back, you see in the conference room when you were last here last night, you can see the same man, the civilian scientist, Dr. Robert Marshall. He's still in there. There's a couple other people in the conference room. Among them, you can see is a man in his probably early 40s with a big ass cowboy hat on, big white cowboy hat, and he is wearing a sheriff's county. And you would know from the images that you looked online when you're traveling up here that in fact is Sheriff Tom Gus. And you go into the conference room, you hear him you hear a tail end of the conversation where he's talking to like a deputy or two. He's talking to Dr. Marshall, and they're talking about the weather. They're talking about the patterns. Like, you can tell that there's like, just stepping into the room, there's like tension. Like, you can hear it in people's voices. Like, they're getting tired of this shit. Like, they're like, the morale is definitely low. And you're not in the room for more than like 4 seconds before all of the deputies and like the civilian guy, they all kind of quiet down. Their eyes are darting up to you. He still has the sheriff still has his back to you, and he starts talking. He stops talking, and then he turns. You all the FBI agents?
Yes, sir. We're part of that team.
Okay. Which one of you is? What was the name you used, Agent Carr? Do you remember the name you used when you were?
I believe it was just Agent Carr.
Okay. Which one of you is Special Agent Carr?
She's visiting the victim in the hospital at this time.
Victim?
Or she doesn't say victim. She says the actual name, but Ashley is
Jeremy.
Jeremy Benton.
Jeremy.
Benton.
All right. So my deputy said that you all showed up after I'd already left. They'd given you the basic debrief of the process. You've met Mr. Marshall here. Excuse me, Dr. Marshall. What is it that you all can do for me?
Honestly, you guys have done everything perfectly to the book that you can, given the situation. I'm sure you recognize the political reasons that we were additionally brought in. And I do apologize that this has been a difficult situation. But there are some other locations that we're hoping to assist in looking into. And then if there's anything else that you guys require assistance with, we'd be glad to assist.
That's right, Jeff. Where do you need help?
Where we need help?
Your deputy told us yesterday about the search you're doing, and it seems pretty solid. So I don't think you need more hands there. But what can you use help with?
Kind of does like a full inhale, looks around the room. Hey, Brian, close that door. And you see behind you, like the deputy that had been leading you through, kind of turns around, closes the door of the conference room. What I say here doesn't go outside. Everyone knows that. You all are new. I imagine the FBI understands a little thing called operational security.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll just get right down to the brass tacks of it. This is the last day we're going to do a full cordon search. We don't even have the personnel anymore. Every day we lose volunteers. It's a big search grid. And that Benton boy was no help whatsoever. Gave us nothing. We spoke with the Walpie police as well, and they've been searching their side. I haven't found anything. There ain't nothing out there. The only reason we're still going is because that damn congresswoman's got a bug up her ass, and so she's got to put a bug up everyone's ass. Now, I beg your pardon, I understand it's her son, but you know how many missing persons we got? You know how many people we got missing in the history of this here city? This state even. You know how many times folks go out thinking they understand how the weather works here in the great state of Arizona, only to get their asses handed to you when that great sun cooks them on the trails. But we gotta place special treatment for her son. The truth of it is, special agents, I don't suspect, and no one in this room suspects, we're gonna find any more survivors. Right now, we're looking to locate as best we can for the families. Whatever we can to give them some peace of mind. Now, as to what you all can do for me, I'm getting sick to high heaven of dealing with that woman. If you all want to run some interference, that would be very useful. Make her, she keeps throwing these damn threats down my throat like that's gonna be the thing. Like, oh, it's some sort of smoking gun. They went on a freaking hike and they got lost is what happened. They did some peyote, or they dropped some acid, or whatever those freaking kids down at that damn ASU are doing these days. And they got lost is what's happened. It's tragic, but it happens. So if you can run some interference, if you want to indulge her in that little side quest of hers, then you go right ahead, because I don't have the personnel to spare, and I don't have anyone with the clearance levels to deal with some of that national security business that she's on, whatever council that is, anyhow. So there you go.
We have started that. We do have one of our agents looking into her concerns regarding death threats.
Yeah, what politician doesn't have death threats?
That's very true.
I'm a politician. Sheriff's an elected office. You think I didn't get some death threats every now and then? Rite of passage.
And Weaver just kind of nods along with that. Did you? So she turns to Chopra. We do have one place to meet at, and then prior to heading over, but we would like to join you on your search today.
You want to join us? You want to go out on a search party? I think that's the best use of your vast federal experience.
Recovering.
All right, if you all want to, and he's like, if you all want to, come on up, and he'll kind of look over to like everyone in the room, like, okay, well, if you want, head up Stockton Hill, about 20, 30 minutes, depending on how fast you want to go. Get over onto John Neal Ranch, head east. You're going to see it's going to be impossible to miss. There's probably going to be about 24 vehicles along the side of the road, and just follow them. Little trailhead area. It's kind of close to Red Lake. You can park on over there. Just tell them who you are, flash a badge. I'll have a deputy or two on the side. They'll know you're coming. And if you want to go retracing whatever steps you want to trace, you retrace. If you want to try to catch up with one of the lunchtime shifts, then you can catch up with one of the lunchtime shifts. Whatever you feel is the best use of taxpayer dollars, you go right ahead.
If we find ourselves with time, maybe we'll join you. But
well, we would be obliged.
Before we leave, Sheriff, You mentioned a lot of missing people, and one of the folks our agent spoke to last and mentioned that there were some local legends that people tried to recreate. Any of the missing peoples related to that?
You talking about Navarro? All right. So, I don't know. Brian, when was that? It was before I was born. Before most of us were born. Probably Sam's the only one who's alive, one of the park rangers, but he was probably a kid at the time. He's pretty old, but they all kind of laugh when they make a joke about Sam, the park ranger. But, yeah, was that about, I don't know, about 70 years ago or so, there was a fella by the name of Enrique Navarro. So the gist of it is that him and his mother kind of wandering out into the desert. Tragic, something to do with family not accepting her husband, Enrique's pa, died in the war. And I guess they didn't want to accept him or something, and so they just kind of wandered out there. And, well, she didn't want her back. But they found him. He was about 5 or 6 years old, and he told a story, this thing or two, about seeing this, seeing that, seeing his mama, seeing a village, all that sort of stuff. But ain't no data on him actually finding anything, and so he's a writer now. I think he's still alive. I saw him on CNN a couple days ago. They were interviewing him. Lives up in Vegas, I think. He's an older fella. He's a writer. So now, thank you, Mr. Navarro. I don't know, what was it, 70s or so, 80s, something like that. He wrote all these little like biographical, semi-autobiographical stories about his tales, his experiences, that sort of thing. And that apparently there's a bunch of very weak-minded folk out in the world who took that not as, a warning against doing it, but as an invitation to recreate it. And so every now and then we get these fools who come up here who think that they can wander out into the desert and they're gonna see God or something. And that's what it is. Now, I don't know. I haven't gotten any information that this is necessarily that, but I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but does it really matter what brought them here? I don't think so. My job's to find them.
It's true.
Do you know where they usually go? There's wander out in the desert, or is there somewhere particularly they go?
Well, it's specific. The locals will say it's the Cyan Desert, necessarily. It's the search grid, basically. West of, over by Red Lake, kind of east into the borders of the reservation, a little over into it, technically speaking, but can't cross that border unless you're permitted. And according to Sam, they were not permitted for any sort of sightseeing, fishing, camping, etc. on the reservation. So unless they were thinking of doing it illegally, which honestly is the dumbest thing to do, because the fine for such a thing is far heftier than those relatively cheap permits. So anyhow, what was I saying? Oh, right. So it's up to the Grand Walsh Cliffs, and that's about, I don't know, we're right in the center of it. Where that trailhead is relatively in the center, and then we kind of veer up north and east, and you head over across the reservation line for a bit, and then eventually kind of fades away. And that's what it is. You ain't gonna see it on a map. That's just what we call it.
Gotcha.
You'll hear it. You head on out there, listen when the wind blows. You'll start hearing things. It's a weird sound. Something about the Joshua trees or something. And ain't that right, Dr. Marshall? Yeah, the Joshua trees and rock formations and something. Yeah, see, Joshua trees, rock formation. Definitely not haunted or nothing. I don't want to hear none of that freaking alien shit either. Okay, this ain't... I don't want to hear that. I know Nevada's right there, but I am not dealing with any of that shit down here. Anything else I can do for you? Because my
No, thank you.
contacts just kind of fell out. So just give me 1 second as I get that situated. Okay,
yeah.
it's situated now.
Thank you for your time, Sheriff.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all, special agents. If you find something, you let me know.
Will do.
All right, then. Get to it. Like, turn around. There's Brian. Open the door. 3, you leave. Okay. We'll cut. We see Agent Price. We see Carr. We see the two of them at the Kingman Regional Medical Center. It's not as busy as the sheriff's office, but you definitely see that there are a couple of news vans and things, local, national, etc. You get inside, flashing badges and stuff. You guys can get anywhere you basically need to go. And you are told, when you start asking like the basic desk below, flash your badges, where's Jeremy Benton? 3rd floor. And he's got like his own private room. And you can see as you get over to the kind of get up to the 3rd floor, there's like a deputy on the, kind of on call there. You can see, and like you're told that the parents are there too. Likely the mother is very frequently, if you're interested, not Sharon, hang on. That's the wrong family. Deborah is likely in the room, barely ever leaves his side. And then the husband, Harold, he's either in the room or he's going to be in the chapel, the hospital chapel. So what do the two of you want to do?
Sorry, is it Harold and Deborah?
Harold and Deborah Benton.
I say we go to the room and we talk to Jeremy first.
That works.
Okay, go in, show your badge to the deputy by the door. He's sitting down. You can see he's reading a coffee. He's got a newspaper out, and he just kind of makes a sign, nods, let's go, and you open in. You go in, and you can see it's very early in the morning that you're here. And you can see that there is a hospital bed. You can see the curtains have not been drawn yet, but there's some ambient light from some of the various devices and such in the room. You can see that in the seat right next to the hospital bed, there is a woman that's kind of curled up. It looks like the nurses probably gave her a blanket. She looks to be, you'd probably peg her maybe in her 50s or so. African-American woman. You can see that you can't really get a good look at her other than her face, and she's kind of in this like state of sleeping. When the door opens up, there's this light that cuts into the room, and as it comes across her face, you see her eyes pop open, and she bolts up, and she immediately reaches her arm out and like grabs the arm of Jeremy, and then she breathes like a sigh, like she was worried, and then she looks up at the two of you, and she says, well, who are you?
Apologies for the interruption. My name is Special Agent in Charge Price. This is Special Agent Carr. That's a Steven slip. We're hoping to interview Mr. Benton here. If you wouldn't mind, give us a few moments with your son. We try to recreate the events.
Sir, Special Agent, FBI.
Special
Yes.
Agent in Charge.
In charge? Which is a lie, by the way, you're not. So she looks at you, kind of cocks her head, and she's just like, you want to get a recreation of events?
We just
For
need to
my
interview
son.
your son one more time. I know that he's been interviewed several times, but this is federal now.
Yes,
and there are
we're-
procedures to follow.
We're aware of his condition. I'm sure you've been glad to have him back, and I'm sure you're very concerned about him. And I'm sure he's been through multiple interviews. And at this point, I'm sure you're very tired of all of that, but we do need to have a few moments. Would it be okay if I walked you outside?
You can talk to him, but I'm not leaving the room. That's non-negotiable.
And is there kind of a table kind of off to the side a little bit that?
Yeah, you can see like it's basically the type of thing that wheels over top of him, and that like where he can eat from if he wanted to eat. But you can tell when you look at him that he looks in terrible condition. He looks frail. He looks sunburnt. Yep. His skin is peeling. He's not even awake necessarily, but you can see his eyelids kind of flutter here and there. He's got scars. He's got bandages wrapped around his arms, his shoulders. He's not in great condition. And but she's like, you can talk to him, but I'm staying here. I'm not letting this.
We're just trying to work for the best of everyone here. We're not trying to cause any conflict.
Oh, you might not be, but I know who is. Blaming it on my... I've heard. Think I haven't heard? You think the nurses haven't said stuff? You think other people haven't come and told us? You think I haven't seen it on the news when she gets up there and she says and she makes these illusions that my boy is somehow responsible for this?
We work for the FBI, which is part of the executive branch.
We do not work certainly believe that multiple conversations with the media can definitely have a way of affecting an investigation, which is why we are here. Talk to your son. We would like to speak with you as well. Get the information as much from the source as possible. We obviously are not doing our investigation based on media reports.
If you want to ask him questions, you can go ahead. But if he gets upset and I tell you to stop, you need to promise to stop. I want
Absolutely.
your promise.
Ma'am, this is not my first interview. I am well aware that when conducting an interview, if we push someone too far, that is not going to be beneficial for our purposes. So I can assure you, I would not do anything that would jeopardize his health. That wouldn't help our investigation either.
This might not be your first interview. This is my firstborn and my only son. So
absolutely.
If I tell you to stop, you stop. I want you to say, I promise.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to say, I promise.
Oh, you mean
I
me
promise.
As well. Yes, I promise.
That, yes.
Both of you, because she didn't say it. She said, yes, ma'am. Okay. So she nods. She seems satisfied. She opens the curtains a crack so that some light starts to come in. And then she reaches over to his arm that she had grabbed, not the bandaged one where the hand was. You remember, if you recall, from the report, just to kind of refresh your memory, you do have like one of the first interviews. So he was suffering from severe dehydration, sunburn, minor cuts and bruises, confusion, disorientation. His most significant physical injuries include claw marks on the wrist and shoulder, and you can tell that he's got extra bandages on the wrist, on the shoulder, and you can see that his right hand, there are extra bandages, like his hand is like in this heavily bandaged wrap, and that's where his middle ring and small finger were severed. And so you can see that's all, and they didn't have any fingers. So they wrapped it all up. But otherwise, you can see he's been shaved. Looks like you presume by the mother sometime in the last couple of days. His hair looks to be like little disheveled, like they haven't cleaned it up a bit. But it looks like she's tried to clean his face up, but his face is very parched. It looks dry. And you can tell he's got saline bags. He's got stuff funneling into him like crazy, but he just looks utterly like worn out and dehydrated still. But she reaches out and very gently shakes his arm. Jeremy, sweetie, wake up, wake up. Some folks the FBI is here to see you. And she kind of like waits for a moment and shakes his arm again. And then his eyelids flutter and they come open. And then you can see like the light that she had opened from the curtain doesn't quite make it up to his face. It like stops at his chest. And so you can't quite, so his face isn't really bathed in light, but his eyes are open. And immediately he's like, And she's just like there kind of pouting. It's okay, baby. I'm right here.
Yes, you're still in Kingman Regional Medical Center. You are still in Kingman Regional Medical Center.
Is that light bothering you? We can close the blinds if that would make you more comfortable.
And he doesn't say anything, but the mother says, as long as it's not in his eyes, he's okay.
Mr. Benton, I'm sorry. I know this is a bad time, but we just need to recreate a few things. And I was hoping you could tell us what your planned route was, what trails you were planning on taking, what sites you were planning on seeing. I know that you were planning on looking at, one of them was like the three women or something like that. 3 sisters. And I would just go through the nicknames that we got from Karis.
And like you mentioned him, and he just winces each time. every time you say one of those things from the GPS, and he just winces each time.
Could you confirm for us that you saw all of these individual sites? Simple yes or no.
And you see he like turns his head like really gently in the direction of his mother, and he's like almost hyperventilating, and she's like, it's okay, baby. And his eyes like they're like this rapid like dilation and then reset, then dilation and reset, and he kind of turns back to you. And his head just kind of moves ever so slightly up and down. And something out there. Something out there.
Understood. There was something that was out there. And so what Agent Carr kind of wants to do is she wants to kind of be trying to kind of breathe, kind of as she's, kind of like echoing his words back. She's kind of trying to kind of take some slow breaths with him to try to see if she can kind of get his breathing to match hers. And she'll try to kind of slow the pace down just a little bit with just, yes, there's something was out there.
Give me a psychology test. Psychology or psychotherapy? I always forget. I always get them confused. It's one of the two. The P one.
Psychotherapy.
Okay.
She was
I thought I was better at psychotherapy than I am. Yeah, human is way better. I've got an 80 in human.
Yeah, you're like an amazing,
human is more about
like behavioral person, aren't you?
Yeah, human is more about like interrogation and learning and reading body language, and like you're specifically describing trying to calm him down.
Yeah, no, that's
true. A little bit more
okay.
what psychotherapy is.
So our audience has been throwing some bits out as we've been going. I'm gonna.
I think it's plus 10 we do for boost. Is that right?
Yeah. So I mean, I spent it, but it doesn't matter because I somehow rolled a 90 freaking 8.
Okay.
Yay, dice.
He starts to panic a little bit. Something out there. Can't see them. Invisible. Can't see. Kind of holds his hand up, and like he looks at the bandaged hand that's missing fingers, and he kind of like holds it up in his hand and like holds his hand up and kind of moves it back and forth. City. Something. And he's like really starting to panic, and you can tell with your human that the mom is getting very close to pulling the plug on this interview. What do you guys do next?
Okay, so we heard something out there.
Something out there.
Something invisible.
Invisible, city. Can't see. City.
Where is this city? Pen, paper. And I go and I write down each of the nicknames of like the locations. And I say, can you point to which one was closest to the city?
And he tries to like crane his neck and look down and look. No. And then you can see his hand just like flops down and his thumb and his like forefinger, we'll say on his left hand because his right hand's the one that's pretty bandaged, is like moving the paper around a bit. And you can see like it's sort of pointing at like Maze, but he also like there's like this little dot because like I think it was like Maze. What was the thing? Maze, the bird, gal pals, shrooms. Is that what you guys saw?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's what I gave you before. Anyway, that's what was on the GPS. So it was those four.
Yep.
But he says different place. Out there. Different.
Where did you go off the trail? Where did you split from your route?
And he starts to like really hyperventilate, and he just doesn't answer that question. He just sort of shakes the paper around like really rapidly, and then his hand starts to crunch it a bit, and you can see like where the skin is most dry on his hand begins to separate, and you can see these tiny little like bits of like blood begin to pour out of them, and like the mom is just like enough.
Understood. Absolutely. Would you?
So good.
Would you mind if we show him one more thing?
She go. So ahead, quick.
And so she's going to
You
rifle
see
through her
the
bag.
Pulse rate, by the way, going kind of
Yep.
kicking up too.
So we have a GPS of the compound.
Okay.
So she's going to pull out the GPS and
satellite image from above.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
Okay.
And so she
Okay. You show that to him?
wants to show that picture.
Okay. Disappeared. Disappeared. Nick. Dead.
Nick is dead. And they disappeared.
Dead. And you can, like, the mom's just kind of patting him, like, it's okay, dear. You're doing so good. You're doing so good. What else do you want to say?
And she's going to kind of quickly put the picture away. Anne?
Yep.
She went home.
Anne went home?
Home.
And Michael?
Gone. They're gone. Michael.
Emily?
Gone. And you can see, like, he's like starting to get really upset. His pulse rate's going up. You can see a tear starts to form, but it's so as it starts to drip, it's like it's struggling. You can tell, like, it's just sort of coming down ever so slightly, but it's like thick and like almost milky as it comes out. And he just kind of like blinks it away. Gone. They're gone.
Deborah, has he said anything else during his best moments?
And he looks, and she looks at you. This is more than he's ever said. He's never said anything about them. You're doing so good, Cheryl. You're doing so good.
I'm going to assume that we shared notes here. If that's okay. Because while we're here, I want to bring up the Navarro name that they got. If it's okay that we kind of like shared information back, or would you say this
It's
is
up
like
to
simultaneous?
You can see his pulse is going crazy high. His heart rate's going crazy high. You're starting to see like red line monitors and stuff. Things are starting to do that kind of stereotypical heavy beeps and things like that, like these warning. So if you want to risk it, what do you want to say?
Steven, do you think I should go for one more? Do the
It's your call.
I mean, we ran through all 5 names of the hikers.
I want to ask the question personally, but I also feel like the conversation about Navarro would have been happening kind of simultaneously.
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay.
I was about to say, yeah. Because like this is the same time that they were at the sheriff's office.
True.
So it's probably
True.
not come
Yep.
through yet. I doubt you were like checking your text messages in the middle of this conversation.
All right. Won't meta that then. Then I would say that she would, like, we kind of went through all of them and what we know so far with the names and everything. So I think Carr would sort of look back to Palmer, and she would kind of take a step back a bit, and to see if Palmer had any additional questions. Yes, I agree, Mrs. Benton. He's done such a good job.
We don't want to push your son, like you said. Like we said, we're hoping to resolve this with everyone's best interests in mind. Everyone's. Let's just give him a break there. And ma'am, would you mind if we talk with you for a moment? We don't need to leave the room, but maybe we just let your son have a bit of a break. And I kind of like motion towards the other side just to give some space.
Okay. Like over by, there's a bathroom, so you can kind of like creep over by the bathroom a little bit.
Yeah.
And she nods and she kind of shakes her head up and down. You can see like she's got little tears in her eyes. She's really like concerned and panicked. But she comes over with you, and you can see the minute the 3 of you you shut up, you stop asking questions of him, and you like leave him alone. You can see that the numbers start to go back down. He starts to calm a little bit more. And then she looks at the 2 of you. What do you say to her?
Ma'am, we'll speak with the doctors too, but I'd like to know what your impressions are. Have the doctors mentioned anything about his condition being strange or different than they would have expected? He seems like he's still dehydrated. He's had fluids for several days now. That seems a bit strange, does it not?
She nods and she's like, Harold and I said the same things, and they still haven't explained the marks and the fingers and what did them. They say they were bitten off, but one of the nurses, I overheard them talking, and it just, they don't think it looks right based on coyotes and wolves and things, and it just doesn't make sense. And then the claw marks, someone said mountain lion or something, but then it would be worse than what it is. So I don't know. And you can see like she's like looking back at the bed, like with this just like great concern. You can see like she's a mess. Like now that she's come out from underneath like the blanket, you could tell she is just an absolute mess. But she's there and she's constantly looking back. And I would say, Agent Carr, you have very high human. Both of you have high human, right? Or no?
No, I'm at 22.
Price is, yeah, price is right. Carr,
I live up to my stats.
Yeah.
Carr, you get the sense that there's something she's holding back. Like you get the sense that she's looking, like especially when you ask the question, and like she's looking back, you see this like posture that you think she's sort of like on the verge of saying something, but doesn't quite say it.
I'm very thankful that he was able to share information with us that he hadn't shared before. That must relieve you that he's spoken a little bit more this morning than he had?
She just nods. I'm glad it's words.
Is there anything else that you can tell us? Anything that may even not seem connected, but we're trying to be as thorough as possible?
And again, you can see she's fretting. She's like looking at her son. She's looking at you two. She's looking at her son. And she says, no. But you don't believe her.
Ma'am, we need every available bit of information to get to the bottom of this. We're speaking with all of the families. We are hearing things that perhaps the families didn't initially want to share, but any bit of information could be useful to our investigation. I recognize that there's a media circus out there, and we are not a part of that.
Roll a persuade test. Take a plus 10 since you said you're not part of the media. Not a plus 20. Give me a persuade. Agent Price, if you wanted to hop in and try to help her out here too, you're welcome to say something as well. But this is going to be a roll.
Yeah, I would say something that we're not here for any criminal investigation or anything along those lines. Nothing we hear is going to lead towards any sorts of prosecution. We're here to find the people and bring them home. That's all we want.
Okay. Carr, you can take a plus 20. Take a plus 20. Trying to reassure her Jeremy's not in trouble, all that kind of stuff. So, Carr, you can roll plus 20. Persuade plus 20.
Okay, so I'm going to roll persuade, and plus 20 would have put me at 100, and I rolled a 9.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice
you
job.
rolled a 9. You didn't even need a plus
Holy
20. You could have said something. I would have just do that. Okay.
I wanted Stephen to have an opportunity to jump in and kind of roleplay with
She
us.
also wanted the 100.
She
I mean, I could have rolled 100,
swallows-
so, you know.
She swallows kind of deeply. And then she says, last night, something strange happened. He was sleeping. I was sleeping next to him. And Harold was down in the chapel. And he woke up Jeremy. And he was sitting up a little bit. He's barely moved since they put him in the bed. And he was just staring out the window. I left the curtains open. And I thought he was talking at first, but he wasn't saying anything. He was just making he was just making sounds, just like little pops over and over, one after the other. And it went on for a few minutes. And I tried to stop him. His vitals were fine. I called a nurse. And when the nurse opened the door, he fell back into the bed and was quiet again. I recorded it.
I was just going to ask you if you had that was excellent thinking. Would you mind sharing that with us?
And so she looks around the room for where her phone is, finds it, comes back, holds it out, and plays the button hits the play button of the recording, and you just hear pop up, pop, pop, pop up, pop up, pop up, pop, pop up, pop, like this like series of just pop sounds with his mouth. It sounds like him. Definitely sounds like him. Agent Carr or Agent Price. If you want to roll a sig int, go right ahead. Carr, you can take a +20.
I've got a whopping 0 on SIGINT.
I've got 41 on SIGINT.
I would ask her to please send that to my burner email.
Okay, so I'm going to roll this under 61.
Okay.
And I got a 65.
Oh.
It's okay. We're gonna fail forward on this. You hear very like it dawns on you after listening to it a couple times that you've heard the rhythm before. It's the same rhythm that you recall hearing when you came back into your motel room. And because of you failed, I would like you to roll a sand test now.
Oh,
so that's your fail forward. You recognize it, but it unsettles you in the process, we'll say.
And I failed 54 over 50.
Take a point of sand loss because it doesn't really like set it like as you start to kind of to think about it. Like first you just sort of put it to the side. It just sounds like he's babbling, having a night terror or something like that, and then it dawns on you what it is. And so what does that look like when Carr loses a point of sand?
So she's like intently listening. And, she's kind of doing the thing where she sort of has her ear, kind of towards the phone and kind of her eyes are kind of going off in the distance as she's listening. And you just see her start to do the pop with her mouth. And so she's sort of doing this repetition of what she's hearing. Pop, 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 pop. And just sort of repeating it over and over again. And like not necessarily being particularly responsive because she's sort of, ear in that direction, is sort of looking off at no one, just mimicking the sounds.
So,
Carr,
pop, pop.
Keep it professional.
Pop.
Yeah, the mother's like looking at you, Price, looking at her. What is she doing? What is this?
It's her system. She's a techie. She likes to repeat noises. It's weird, I know. Carr, come on. Keep it professional.
She puts the phone back in her pocket at this point, staring at you strangely, Carr. I think you should go. I think we've done enough.
You have done quite a bit, ma'am. I appreciate your help. I appreciate your son's help. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that your son gets the best help he can. He makes a full recovery.
She looks back over to you and she her forehead softens a little bit. You can tell she's very confused and a little alarmed by Carr's reaction. But she comes back to you, Price, and she's like, "Thank you, Agent. I think I want to spend some time with my son now."
Understood.
So we'll say the two of you leave the room, and we'll go ahead and we'll cut from there. Perfect timing, Ashley. And we'll go back over to Chopra and Weaver and Inferno, who's reading a dossier, eating a turkey leg in the backseat of your car.
So many death threats.
What do the two of you want to do next? You met with the sheriff. What do you want to do next?
I think we're checking out those coordinates that you found, right?
Yeah, I thought you might. Look at Maitrey's face. Okay, yeah, we did.
She is very excited for that.
I am very excited.
Okay. Yeah, we can totally do that. All right, so it's not that far away. It's once you get out of the city, it's about 15 minutes outside. And at a certain point, you can see that you're like, you punch it into, your phone, you punch it into your, I don't think, I'm trying to remember 2014 if we had navigation systems built into cars and rental cars or not yet. I can't remember, but we'll say at the very least you can find it with your phones or something like that.
I definitely printed out MapQuest either way.
Oh my God. Are you my mom? Maitrey. Okay.
MapQuest
Agent
in
Chopra's my
2014,
mom?
that's still pretty...
I know.
It was still outdated then.
It was 10 years
How
ago.
You know, Mr. 45 to 65-year-old.
I still use atlases.
I think he's up to 75 now at this point.
Just keeps aging.
So you're taking a lot of like these small roads, like not like there's like no like at a certain point like the traffic just gets more and more empty until finally you're just driving through desert and you're on barely an asphalt road, and then you turn off onto something that's not an asphalt road. You see all around there are it's mostly desert, but you can see like scattered buildings, like these abandoned buildings, these homes, or what looks like homes that maybe has like a truck or two in them, like a heavy duty truck, like old stuff. Like this is not a suburb. Like this is the type of thing that when you're driving past on these interstate highways and you look off and you just see like, who the hell lives there? This is kind of where you're driving through. And eventually,
Sorry, I have a question because I know the Roleplay reservation was nearby. Does it? We're not
We're on
in
the
the
wrong way.
indigenous lands.
Wallapai is to the northeast, and it's a little bit of ways from Kigman proper. You're going to the southeast. So no, you're nowhere near. So you find yourselves eventually progressively moving through these series of like older or more dilapidated or less upkept roads. You see a scattered homestead here and there that looks to either be abandoned in some cases. In other cases, it looks like there's people still living there. You see rusty old trucks. You see above ground tanks of something. A few times you see what looks maybe like horse pasture. You maybe see a couple horses that are being kept along those runs of barn or such here and there. And eventually you find yourselves on this long dirt road. And there's not a lot of vegetation that's like gives you a lot of coverage. Like you can see there's cacti and such. But for the most part, it's very flat. Occasionally there's like a boulder here or two, but it's pretty flat land. Eventually you know that if you continued southeast for a very long way, you eventually there's like a official forest in that direction, but you're not anywhere close. Specifically, I think that one's called. So that eventually would take you to what's called the Pinyon Pines, and so you're kind of heading off a little bit. So you're kind of, if you look at the map I gave you all, the Google map of the Kigman area, you're somewhere between Walnut Creek and Pinyon Pines on that map, kind of in the middle of nowhere. But again, not complete and utter nowhere, because there is a road, and you get to the point where you're like kind of looking at your coordinates, and you're tracking your phone. And you see like the dirt road leads to what looks like another little tiny slender path, like another dirt road. You think it's more though this time. This is one that winds out to what you think in the distance is a homestead. And you can see it's maybe a quarter mile back from this dirt road you're on. And there is this winding gravel path overgrown with weeds. You can see the homestead is 2 stories, but it's not glamorous to look at. It looks to be fairly dilapidated, but intact. It doesn't look like the roof is caved in. There is what looks like a fruit tree, citrus probably, maybe a lemon tree, kind of out front, and you can't quite get a clear view of the front door because of it. And you can see that there is what appears to be like it looks, at first you think it might be a barn, but then you look at it again, it might just be a detached driveway, like an old-fashioned detached driveway. You see no cars, but you do see that like detached driveway is closed at this point. And you're pretty confident that the coordinates that it's taking to is somewhere on that land. There's like
say that out loud first of all to Weaver and Inferno, and stop the car, and should we just go up there on foot?
Yeah, we can check and see if there's a resident.
Yeah. All let's why don't we just take the car closer then? And
Was Zillow a thing in 2014?
There are real estate databases in 2014. That I'm 100% positive. 'Cause my mom's a realtor.
Lisa would want to see if she can find if this is currently owned first.
Sure. Okay. Give me maybe, what's your computers?
Computer science is 54.
Yeah, give me a quick Actually, no, don't roll. 54 is not hard. We can say you did this on your drive over. I'm fine with that. So, as far as you could tell, and it's not so much Zillow as it would be, you could potentially get into like property taxes and stuff like that. But if you're looking specifically on Zillow or real estate, realtor stuff, as far as you can tell, this site is not up for sale. The last time you think like it'll have potential tracking of like when the last time it changed ownership hands.
Yeah.
1970.
Oh, okay. So that might lead Lisa to believe that maybe this is like a DG like purchase property, possibly.
oh my god, or is it a green box? Are we gonna
I don't think it's a green box. We're not allowed to have
Not a
those
storage
anymore.
unit.
But I do
You're not allowed to have nice things because of what Steven does in green boxes.
I do think they do have like safe houses and stuff though that they can have.
Oh yeah. No, I was just being silly. Like this is, I assume the rally point. So I mean, we got the coordinates based on asking about the rally point. So I think you're very much onto something that it's like a deltagreen something, safe house or something.
Yeah. So I still want to be careful when we go review it, but definitely something we should check out.
I'll slowly drive up.
Okay, so we drive up the gravel driveway effectively. So you drive up. That lemon tree is kind of on your left. You can tell that there's some rotten fruit on the ground here and there. You can also tell it's probably blooming a little bit. There's some fruit here. And you eventually drive past it, and you can get a view of the front now. And you can see like there's a small, it's not a wraparound porch, but there's a raised entry. And it's kind of got like a little place for a porch out front. And it looks like there's a rocking chair. No one in it. And there's like a couple hanging plants as well. And from what you can see now that you're up close, those hanging plants do seem to have plants in them that are not dead. You can see a flower or two. What would you like to do?
Does look like
Very
someone is here. Should we go knock on the door?
What?
We'll keep it official.
And Verda, you stay in the car.
What? Okay. He's
No,
eating.
he says gabba gabba doodle or whatever he said.
He's just trying to skip the pleasantries.
Yeah.
And so he's
He's got a lot of reading to do.
Yeah. Okay. So two of you get out. You climb up the stairs, and you knock on the door. Is that right? Doesn't seem to be a doorbell. Okay. You knock on the door. It's very quiet. You don't hear any barking of dogs or anything like that.
There were no-
And what's that? There's a window, but you can see that it's curtained. It's got this light curtain. No answer though. Like a good 30 seconds go by. Maybe you knock again. Another 30 seconds go by. No answer.
I'm gonna go around back and see if there's a back door.
Okay. Weaver, what are you doing? Are you going with her or are you doing something else?
I think I'd like to like observe like this homestead to see if there's any like not traps but like maybe is there like a hidden key somewhere or like something
You want to
DG?
look for a key to get like underneath the mat or like the
Yeah, or like one of those
Okay.
fake rocks,
Sure. What's your search?
Only 30.
Okay. Roll search plus 20. So effectively it's a 50-50.
Okay.
As you start going through, there's some rocks and such, but like it's more of a like there's plants and things like that. How'd you do?
7.
Okay. You look around. Good news and bad news. The bad news is that you don't find a key. But the good news is that you don't, as you kind of go up to the door, you realize the door is actually unlocked. Like you kind of jiggle the handle a little bit and you realize it's not locked. And meanwhile, Chopra has gone to the back of the house. So while you think about that, Weaver, Chopra, you're in the back of the house.
Okay.
So you get out to the back, you pass by that sort of detached garage. You can see there's like a barn door on it that are closed. You can see what looks like a pen, like a chain link pen. There doesn't look like a coop of some kind, perhaps for chickens or something like that, but you don't see any animals. Looks like there's like another place where there appears to be like more of a garden, and you can see that there's these planters, these wooden planters, but it doesn't look like anything is growing, but it does look like there's soil, like there's dirt. So it doesn't look like it's just been completely dried out. It has a back porch, and this back porch is much wider. You can see that there is a big window on the second floor. And you can see that second floor window, the curtains are open, the air from the south, or excuse me, the light from the south is coming through. You can see there's a door through the back porch. The back porch doesn't have a rocking chair, but it does have a small table. And you can see there's 2 chairs for the table. And then the land extends. And you can see it goes off quite far to the south. Like there's nothing behind it. It's just desert landscape all the way out. You want to do, Chopra?
I am gonna. Sir, did you said there was the pen and everything else, but was there a back door?
Yeah, there's a back door.
Okay. I'm gonna go knock on that.
Okay, knock on the back door. Same thing, 30 seconds go by. No answer.
I'm gonna try it this time.
Door is unlocked. So,
Well,
simultaneously, front and back door. Both of you figure out the door is unlocked. Chopra, you open it up and peek inside. Weaver, what do you do?
She'll do the same. Like if it's like an inward pushing one, she'll push it open and just view what she can from the doorway.
Push it open, you look inside. Chopra, you see a kitchen. Weaver, you see what appears to be a living room. No TV, but definitely older furniture. You can see they've got like floral patterns and things like that. There's some quilts, you can see there's some pots and stuff. There's a small recliner, but it's a very, very old recliner. Like it's nothing remotely new. And you can see there's a coffee table as well with a rug underneath it, but there is a carpet that runs through here in this living room. Chopra, in the kitchen, you see that they're older cabinets. They're like 1970s old. Like that's like you can see wallpaper, kind of colorful but faded at the same time. You can see a very old model, faded lime green refrigerator that still seems, but you can hear the hum of it, so you know it's running. And you do see, both of you, evidence of outlets and such. Like there does seem to be power in here.
Is it dusty? Does it look like
I
it's
was
been left
just
alone?
gonna ask that.
What are your searches? So 30 for
Mine's
Weaver.
30 for 30.
That's okay.
Mine's like 50. George, 50.
Okay, yeah. 30 is fine, 50 is fine. No, it looks clean. Like it's not like spotless, but it looks like someone's tidying up. It looks lived in.
Okay. If it looks lived in and not abandoned and disused, think Chopra's gonna gently close the door behind her and just kind of like make her way through the kitchen and see what's outside the kitchen.
Okay. So as you walk through the kitchen, you see there's a dining room on your right, and there's like a hall, like this little nexus point. And when you look through that little nexus point, you can see there's a living room, there's Weaver, and then there is on your left, there's a staircase that goes up. And then it looks to be like a closet underneath the staircase and stuff. And Weaver, I'll say at this point, you see Chopra standing there in kind of this doorway inside the house. Off to the right, like on the far side I should say Chopra's right and Weaver's left. There looks to be like a little door, you think it's like a doorway that goes in. It's like a sort of a rustic looking door, like the paint is peeling a little bit, and it kind of just goes into the wall. You're not sure where it goes. There's no clear signs of where that might lead. And then you have a staircase going up.
Start clearing rooms.
Yeah,
I'll follow behind.
We should figure out who lives here, right?
Yeah.
There's mail or something.
Yeah, that's
You haven't
so that's
seen any
why.
signs of mail.
Oh.
You haven't seen a mailbox out front. You didn't see a mailbox in the street. You don't see any mail whatsoever on any of the tables.
Lisa will pull out her big flashlight.
It's not dark in here. There's
Okay.
light coming in. It's morning. Lights coming in fully through there's curtains on some of but they're like the sheer white curtains. Nothing's like, it's not dark in here. There's actually quite a lot of light.
She's gonna check out
sorry. Go ahead, Ash.
She's gonna check out the door immediately. The weird inlet door.
Okay. You head over there. You open it up. The handle sticks, but you're able to open it up. And when you do, you see it's a laundry room, and you can see there's a door that apparently it's a laundry room / mud room, and you see there's a door that is in an exterior door that might go outside, but it looks like it's been nailed in, like it's been shut permanently, even though there's the shape of it, but it's kind of boarded up a bit. But it looks like there is a very old washing machine, no dryer. There is a cabinet in here that matches the style of the kitchen. And you can see that there is a laundry basket to your left on a small shelf. And then there's looks like detergents and things.
Clear, she calls out as she exits.
Okay.
Is the decor in here? You said lived in Jeff. Does it look like it's kind of decorated as a home, or is it more utilitarian and sparse like a safe house?
No, I mean it's got a couch, it's got a recliner, coffee table. There was a small circular kitchen table with 2 seats.
So it's decorated like a house.
I mean, you don't see any photos on the wall. There's no family photos or something on the wall, but there's decoration.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna make my way upstairs then.
You take 1 step onto the stairs, and the very first step creaks and echoes. You kind of look down, and when you look back up, you can see standing at the top of the stairs, looking down at you, is a woman that you would say is probably in her 90s. This frail looking old woman with a very stern face. She has an apron on. She has her hands on her hips, and she looks down at you. And just who do you think you are, missy? But we're going to cut for your response to Price and Carr.
Oh, gosh.
What are you two doing when she finished the hospital?
So Carr wanted to After we left his room and she is kind of able to kind of gather herself a bit, she wanted to ask for the medical photos that they took of his claw marks.
Sure. That can be
and
provided.
Injuries. So I imagine they'd have kind of zoomed in, kind of enlarged photos. And so she wanted to kind of check at the nurse's station, flash her badge, and look to see his medical chart and look for
that's
those.
Fine. You can get
pictures.
the chart. You can get that chart. No problem.
Okay. Because she's thinking about sort of the marks that she's seen on the birds, and then she's looking at these pictures, and so that's kind of what's kind of running through her mind.
Right. Okay. So when you look at the pictures of the wounds, do you have medicine or anything like that? What do you have in terms of?
No.
Okay.
0 for medicine.
Okay. So, the obvious question, though, is nothing like the birds in the sense that they are bigger. Like the birds were these like thin cuts and such. These that he has are these deep gouging claw marks, like that just are like raking through the skin. And had any of the birds that you've seen, even the hawk and like that you saw outside, there's no way they would have survived such a brutally deep cut. You can see
Got
even
it.
some stitches and stuff as well, like super deep. When you look at the hand and the missing fingers, you can see that it certainly looks like something has chewed and bitten through them. Like it definitely has that feel to it. You can see the bone, the tendon, whatever the hell's in the fingers, the skin, etc., tissue. You can see it looks like it's been gnawed upon.
Got it.
But
okay.
it doesn't look like it's been like bitten and ripped off the way like a wild like wolf or something like that might bite and tear it away, like the way an animal like a dog chews through meat or something like that. So you're not sure. And you can tell that there's like claw marks all over the arm, all over the shoulder, and then the hand obviously has got the bite marks and such.
Okay. And that's what Carr wanted to do, and she'll kind of turn to Palmer if there was anything he wanted to do before we left the hospital.
Do you want to talk to the father? I feel like we're here. We might as well stop by and say hello. Introduce ourselves.
Makes sense. It certainly sounded like Weaver got a bit more different information from the congressman's husband.
You think they got a break room around here where we can get some coffee?
I would imagine so.
Okay.
I'm
So we're
addicted to stimulants. That's why I keep bringing it up.
You stole a pot of coffee from the
That was last
hotel
night.
room of a family whose child is missing. Just say that out loud to yourself.
Human tip 22, just going strong there.
It's more of a charisma thing, I think, than human. Again, human's more like in human.
Human intelligence,
being able to read. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a charisma of 15, which is why I can get away with it.
I'm gonna adjust that to align with your roleplay. So say you head down to the first floor, you find the cafeteria, you get yourself some coffee, and then you've heard multiple times that Harold Benton is in the chapel. So you go to the chapel, and you do in fact find him. There's 3 people in here, but you can see 2 are old ladies, and so you're pretty sure it's not him. So you instead see a man up front, again, mid to late 50s or so, African-American man. And as you get closer, you realize, like, as you weave around, that he's like, when he's praying, he's kind of like holding, these sort of like a cross, like a very thick, heavy cross in his hand. He's kind of going through this. You get the feeling this is like he's a sort of a fervent believer. And I would even say it might even dawn on you from your profile that you have with the family, that he himself is like a preacher. And when you see him, you can see he's got very little gray except for in his beard, which is a full one. His hair is fairly close cropped otherwise, and there's like a he's got one of those beers where there's like the gap between the cheek and where the sideburns are. But down by the chin where it gets a little bushier, you can tell that there's a little bit of gray. Black jeans. He's got this white polo on that you can tell he's got this cord with the heavy cross as well. And he does have like a coat. It's like a blazer basically on the bench next to him. And he looks up at the two of you as you walk up. What do you say?
Mr. Benton, my name is Special Agent in Charge Price. This is Special Agent Carr. Could we speak with you privately for a moment?
And he looks back and he sees that there's two women in here. And he said, "Not here. I don't want to disturb the prayers. Cheryl there, her husband isn't doing well. Outside. No. There's reporters outside. Cafeteria." It's like a question.
Please.
He goes, "Get up." Looks like he's about to forget his jacket, but then he reaches and he stops, turns back and picks it back up. Folds it over his forearm, and then he kind of tucks the cross back underneath his polo. And then they eventually lead you back to the cafeteria. You find a little corner where it's just the three of you. Get some coffee. He's drinking it as well. And he looks at the two of you. "Sure, they brought the FBI in. Why is that? You charging my son with a crime?"
No, nothing like that. We're just here to help. Just trying
No,
to
sir.
find your son's friends. And so. Have you been able to speak with your son at all?
It's not about me speaking with him. It's about him speaking with me. He said a few words here and there, but can't string together a sentence yet. He'll get there. Just takes time.
We spoke with him a few minutes ago, and your wife. She said that he had improved a little bit, so that's a good sign.
Steven, can you move the mic? You're a little quiet to me.
Oh, sorry. That better?
Yeah, it's better.
We spoke with him a few minutes ago, and your wife, and she said that he was speaking more than ever before, so I think that's a good sign.
Oh, yeah? Did he say anything? Anything good? Helpful?
Nothing much, but a bit for us to go on. I'd like to ask you, your wife told us about an incident the other night where it was the middle of the night and your son woke up and she made a recording. What do you remember of that?
Well, I was, she won't let us go back to the hotel, which is fine. I said we could stay with them and shit. But she won't listen. So she stays. And so I stay. And she was in the room with him. And then she texted me. I was in the chapel praying. And she said that Jeremy was awake. She said that Jeremy was making weird sounds. So I hurried up there. Got there maybe 10 steps ahead of the nurse. I heard a pop. Maybe 2. And then the nurse was right behind me, and then he stopped. Fell back into bed. Deborah, she played it for me, but I don't know what it means. I don't understand. I don't know what it means. Does it mean something? Do you think it means something, Agent?
It's too early to tell. We only just learned about it. We'll send it to our guys back at headquarters and see if they can make any sense of it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's very strange. We're the only ones who got our boy back. The other families are... they're still waiting. And I thought it would be easier when we get him back. But it isn't. I asked him,
You see, like, kind of motions to the sky.
to bring him back. And he did. Maybe maybe I should have been more specific. Does that make me a bad father?
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. You mentioned... Yes.
I just don't know what to do. He won't talk. Not really. He's not himself. That's clear. Deborah won't leave the room. We got daughters back home in Phoenix. We didn't bring them up because I didn't want them to see their brother like this. But they're by themselves. My sister's with them, but I want to bring them home. But they said we can't yet. He's too
one step
fragile.
at a time. One step at a time. I have
But
to say.
I don't like it here. You can feel it, right? This whole place. I don't like
What
it
do
at
you
all.
Feel what?
Even here right now. I just don't like it. That's why I tell Deborah that I'm in the chapel because I'm praying, but to tell you the truth, I'm in there because it's the only place that doesn't make me feel off. You don't feel it?
I can't say that we felt anything in particular. Did you feel it before you came up here?
When we were young, when the kids were young, we used to go up to Sedona. You've been there? Beautiful.
Yes, absolutely beautiful.
Go hiking. And Deborah would take the girls and they would just look at crystals and things. We used to talk about the vortex. You ever heard about this? It's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. I didn't feel anything. It was fine. It was a tourist thing. Something to sell trinkets, But here, I don't like it here. It feels wrong, Are you religious folk? I don't mean to pry.
Was raised with some go to church on holidays and whatnot.
Okay. What about you, sir?
My dad tried to whip it into me once or twice, but I can't say it ever took.
Maybe that's just it then. And maybe I'm just a little too close to it. Anyhow, well, maybe I'm just really tired. I haven't slept in a week, and my son is a shell of himself, and my wife still thinks it's his 5-year-old boy that she sent off to kindergarten. Anyhow, do you got any other more questions you need from me?
I was just gonna say that your wife helped earlier when we talked to your son. She made sure to keep him calm, and that might have helped that he had some more words to answer for us. The words was actually going to be my question. You mentioned that he had shared a few words with you earlier. Would you mind sharing? You said they weren't in sentences, but they could still help, maybe?
I told her to the deputies, something about a city, something about creatures, something about I don't know, like a monster. He said something with a body of a man, head of something else, like an animal, like bone. I don't know. He loves movies, Jeremy. He's a film student, video editing and such. So he watches all the old stuff. So it's probably just one of them popping back into his brain at the wrong time. So don't think anything of it.
So you mentioned he's a film student. Did he happen to take any videos or send anything to any friends since he's been on this trip?
No. But I know that Emily, his girlfriend, I know that she had a camera. I know she was taking them all and everything. No, that I didn't send him or nothing, but I know she was taking. Or maybe I told the deputies they're supposed to look first, but they haven't found it. Not in the car, not the trailhead, not in any of the spots that they were supposedly hiking through. So I don't know. Listen, I'm going to tell you something because I feel like you're trying to help and then you need to know information. Jeremy had a bit of a problem with alcohol. He kind of looks a little embarrassed and sheepish when he says this. It's in his blood. If you catch my drift. But it's a party school mentality, I think, got to him. Some of the demons the Bentons carry. So he's been dealing with it. He's been getting better.
That's good.
So all those people who say these things about, hey, they're just going out and they're smoking their dope or whatever the kids, I don't even, do they even say dope? Anyhow, he's sober.
Going out in the desert to get high.
I think, yeah, he would tell me. At least I think he would tell me. So
okay. So you don't think that was why they went out there?
I don't know. Nick's not really been a great influence. He's not a bad kid, but he's a little bit of a loose cannon. Michael's a good kid. I like him. He's, honestly, I don't even know why he hangs out with him. He's a smart kid, good head on his shoulders. But yeah, Nick's not been a great influence, but Jeremy defends him. So I don't say anything.
Sure. So Jeremy hadn't gone with Nick on this trip before, because Nick's been here before. He's
No,
done this area before.
nah, Jeremy hasn't. I think maybe Michael has. I think so. Michael and Nick, I think they've known each other since they were kids. A long time.
Okay.
Emily, I'm not sure about, to be honest with you. So, last
Do you know
year, Jeremy was taking summer classes, so he didn't.
I see. Do you know if Emily and Anne were friends?
No, they I think they're friends. But as far as I understand it, Anne and Nick were an item. And then Jeremy and Emily are an item. And then Michael is Nick's, friend from when they were kids. I think that's how it works. Not sure though.
And Carl's kind of looked at Palmer to see if he had any questions.
And that's about all the questions I have.
Just want to thank you for trying to help. Hope you can find those other kids.
We'll do our best. I think Jeremy still has a future ahead of him. It might take a while, but he'll get back to where he was.
I appreciate that. I do. I think the sooner we can get him home and away from all this, the better.
I hope you're right.
All right. Let us know if you learn anything, all right?
Of course. Thanks for your
Okay.
time.
Thank you.
Shakes your hand, strong grip, right? Just dude's a force. Gets up.
Mhm.
He leaves. We cut back. Top of the stairs. Complete opposite. We see a frail 80, 90-year-old woman. Curly, white hair. Not gray. White. We see a very pronounced nose, judgmental face. She's got an apron on with little yellow frills. You can see there's a little smudge here or there. Just who do you think you are? Barging into our home like this?
I think Chopra just kind of freezes for a
Weaver,
second
you hear this.
and reaches in, FBI, ma'am.
I can't see that.
Agent Weaver. And I'll approach. Like,
What do you do, Weaver?
So again,
I didn't
she'll-
say you could come up here. Stay where you're
Sorry.
at.
No, sorry. You're right. Sorry.
Agent Weaver from like where she is at near the doorway again calls out, again, FBI, is anyone within this residence? Like, and then
There's an old
approaching-
lady here. There's.
You're like 5 feet from each other. You're like right next to each other.
She's
Yeah.
trying to make it seem more like legit, like she
Okay.
didn't realize Chopra walked in, and so she will enter, see her.
Okay.
Apologies, ma'am. You may not have heard me. We're with the FBI. Are you available to speak?
Not here. Outside.
Okay.
Out the door.
And like you're right. The front door is like a couple steps away from where you're standing.
Yeah, and she'll step right outside.
Chopra will follow it very quickly.
Also, my
Yeah.
FBI name is Agent Davis.
Oh, sorry.
Too late now.
She comes out of the shotgun, shoots you both. You hear the creaking of stairs and bones, and the door opens up onto the front porch. And so you two are maybe on the steps or something, and she's there, door open. Does the FBI make a habit of breaking into homes like this?
No.
Would you like to please take a seat?
Announce ourselves. And thought there was nobody home.
Why do you want me to sit down? I can stand, thank you.
Okay. So you said that you are not the only residents of this building. Can I get your first name, last name, and any other residents?
Do you have a warrant?
We can
You need a
prepare one.
warrant, don't you?
You know, it did sound like noises of distress, but we could have been mistaken. But this is an active investigation. I can prepare one
Noises
for you.
of distress. Donald hasn't made a noise in 10 years, and I was quiet as a mouse. Sounds like you're lying to me, FBI.
And she just, again, Donald and his last name?
His last name is Warrant. Donald J. Warrant.
And your name?
Elizabeth J. Warrant.
And how's your human?
Mine's 34.
Okay, that is not her name.
Yeah,
Like, she is
I
totally
definitely
like
figured.
Yeah.
She's totally like okay. What do you want to say? How do you want to salvage this?
I don't know how to salvage this job.
I-
Actually has no fucking idea.
Yeah.
You're just talking to an old lady.
No, we're
Yes.
sorry. We really thought that whoever was here needed help. We're not officially here. We're with the search, and with the
What search?
heard some the missing kids.
There aren't any kids around here. There's me, and there's Donald. And do I look like a kid to you?
No, we were just going for a drive, taking a bit of a break, and we thought we heard something.
Sorry, my deputy is rather green. Weaver's fishing to see if maybe she may be DG friendly.
Okay.
Do I get any of a reaction to that?
Roll. I mean, not yet. You're not getting kind of vibe like that with human 34 or something like that. No, you're not really getting
Okay.
a vibe. She's like a 9-year-old
Okay.
woman too. So
Yeah.
that goes outside the profile for a deltagreen agent or friend.
Well, no, because Weaver's thinking because this property was acquired in the 70s,
Sure.
and then that's when the original mission was.
Mhm.
So
So
she'll.
you think there's children here that are missing?
No, ma'am. But in response to our the claim that or the investigation that we're processing, we came across some coordinates that led us to your property. And we were looking to seek your permission to go further onto your property to check out these coordinates.
You want to search my property?
Just the area where these coordinates are located.
What are you searching for? You just said you're not searching for missing kids. So then what are you searching for?
Any clues, anything that could have been left behind pertaining to this claim. We just want to see why we received these coordinates and what could possibly be there.
roll what's your persuade, actually?
54.
54? Okay.
You can search the property, but not the house. Donald needs his rest.
Okay. And
keep it quiet.
okay. And then could we ask you a few more additional questions since you're a local of the area?
Go ahead.
We've heard of a local folklore that some of the kids may have been attempting to follow in the desert. Would you know
Navarro?
anything? Yes.
Roll
About
luck test.
Enrique
Go ahead, Weaver.
Navarro.
Yeah,
The
Weaver
bus,
roll
or-
a luck test.
Come on, roll well.
Hell
32.
yes!
Yes.
Just a bunch of hogwash, you ask me. Bunch of hippies and freaks who they'll think it's the 1970s. Going out into the desert and cooking away their brain cells. But that's not over here. That's on the north side.
Yes. We were brought here because there was some overlapping of a cold case from back in the 70s, and that's what prompted
We
this.
lived here in the 70s, Donald and me.
Oh, did you? Perhaps you were aware of 5 people who went missing in that time?
People
Also
go
in the
missing
desert?
around here all the time. What's it to me?
Obviously, we could compensate you if that's something that you would like for your
Does the
information.
FBI bribe people?
No, but
Is
I
that
do like to pay
standard
people for
policy?
their time. No, I just would like to make your time worth your while.
1970s, huh? People went missing
In the desert, yes, ma'am.
in the desert. Well,
And they had a note to meet up here.
to meet up here
Yes.
at my
so were
property.
Did you have any friends who went missing during that time?
No.
Did Donald have any friends who may have went missing during that time?
Donald doesn't have friends. He's very ornery.
I see.
Go ahead and roll a human. 34 is not enough, so to really get a read on her. But you can give a roll.
I've got a 50. Am I
31?
allowed to roll?
I mean, you're not talking, so I feel like the
I'm not.
engagement. Yeah. 31's still good.
I passed.
She's
Nice.
definitely.
That's awesome.
She is definitely hiding something. She is real. It's pulling teeth, but at the same time, she's dodging left and right in some of these
Yeah, it
questions.
sounds
You
like-
get the feeling that
Donald's dead.
some of the things you're mentioning are kind of like you could see the slightest of movement of body and stuff like that. So you get the sense she's not being forthright. But she gave you permission to search the property, just not the
All right.
house.
Well, we'll go and check out that location, and then we'll come back and let you know when we're going to be heading off your property.
Good.
But if you think of anything from that time that you could inform us with, that would be greatly appreciated.
You know, if you tell us, we don't have to come back.
You didn't have to come here in the first place, but you still
we did.
came
We have
here.
we have the coordinates. That's why we're here.
You have coordinates. I don't know nothing
My
about that.
partner said.
I thought you were her deputy. Now you're her partner?
She oversteps sometimes. And like Weaver says this like long suffering as she just like looks at her. All right.
Well, go do your search. Stay out of the house.
All right, ma'am.
She steps back in, keeping full eye on you, reaches over, closes the door, and you hear... Okay. So you guys start to search the property? Is that your goal?
Yeah.
What are your searches?
30.
50.
50. Okay. Weaver, if you want to roll search plus 20. Chopra, you don't need to. Weaver, if you want to roll search just plus 20, it's fine.
Sure.
I like how you always put your hands up.
Yeah, 65.
Okay.
Oh.
Too
So
bad
we'll
we
say that
left
the two of
Inferno
you
in the car.
spread out. And you start searching. And you see all sorts of, like I said before, like you see little bits and pieces here and there. You see a couple broken bits of like machinery, like an old-fashioned pump that doesn't seem to be working anymore, water pump. And time goes for a while. And then, Chopra, you go over to that barn, that standalone garage. And, the door is not open, but there is this plank of wood on the backside that's just, well, it fell down. And boy, that opening seems big enough for you. And you step inside. And you can see it is a garage. There's no car in here, though. No vehicle. You can see that there are all sorts of these different, different tools. Lawn tools, engine tools, hammers, saws, stuff like that. Doesn't look like any of them really have been used in a very long time. Like, this place is dusty. There's cobwebs everywhere. And as you're walking around, and you're very familiar with garages, right? You feel it's kind of hollow on the floor. And you look down, you see like this just dust, and old sawdust, and various bits of debris, and you start wiping it away, and you realize that there appears to be a trap door in the bottom of this here garage. What do you want to do?
Call for Weaver while simultaneously opening it.
Okay. Weaver, I'm going to say because you failed, you're on the complete opposite side.
That's what I figured. I was like,
so you could text each other or something.
Okay. And then if I know she's on the opposite side, I'll text her.
Now, come on. You said you're doing it simultaneously. You don't know where she's at.
I don't know that. So I'm just saying, Weaver over here. Not
do you
waiting
yell Weaver over here across the property?
Oh, no. I assume she is just like nearby. I don't actually know. I just assume she's
Let's
nearby.
reset. What do you want to do? Let's just start again, because I feel like there's been a lot of like this, and then we changed it because this, so you don't know where Weaver is. You came inside the barn, texted her, you called her out. What is it you do? You find this trap door. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna just open the trap door.
Okay. You open the trap door. You see there's all sorts of dust and debris. It just falls down. There's a wooden ladder that goes down into this dark, dusty, dank-looking cellar beneath this garage.
Do I have like a pen light or a flashlight or
Yeah, I don't see why not. That's fine.
Okay. Turning on my flashlight then, and I am heading down.
Start to climb down the ladder. You feel each one of the rungs kind of give way almost a little bit, crack. Ladder almost peels off against the wall. You drop down, and eventually you hit the floor. Get your pen light up. start shining it around, and you see crates, suitcases. You see barrels of things, stacks of papers, boxes. And as you're shining around, you realize there's all sorts of like things packed away in here. And then you also notice that at the back of this area, you see what appears to be a cell. It looks like there's bars. Looks like there's some old cot, dusty as hell. And it looks like there's 2 buckets, one probably for shitting and one probably for the sink. And it dawns on you, Chopra, that this has definitely the vibe of a Delta Green box, but one that has not been accessed in quite some time. And that's where we're going to end for tonight, and we'll pick up there in a couple weeks, and we'll see what's in here.
Oh my gosh. It's a green box.
I know, now everything's going to go off track. We're going to summon Cthulhu. Absolutely. Sorry, I lost my sound. I would describe what you saw, but I lost my sound. So we're gonna have to pick up next week. So, all right, okay, all right. Oh, hang on. For some reason, they can't hear you. I don't know why they can't hear. I turned the music off. I don't know why they can't hear you though. Hang on one sec, folks. Speak again. Try to talk again.
Hello.
There we go.
What's up?
Okay. Anyhow, so yeah,
What's
my
up, baby?
sound got screwed up at the very end. But I think we heard everything. So anyhow, okay. So we'll pick up there. 2 weeks. Long's back. We'll see what happens. And we'll see what terrible thing you guys unleash from this green box that completely derails the campaign. And go from there.
Careful, my Trey. It's an easy way to get black bagged.
It is.
I
look
was
what
saying I
Declan's become.
really appreciate that Jeff described a hole in the wall and didn't even have to ask if I would go in.
Yeah. There it is. Right there.
He knows.
Right there on the ground.
No,
For
He knows.
sure.
Okay. Okay. It's just like you're like I call it to Weaver. I'm like, do you call really loud? Because then you might.
I sure don't. I sure
You
don't.
never know. Suddenly, what are you doing here? I love her. She's my new favorite character.
So good.
Okay, so that's the end of this session. We'll pick up in a couple weeks. Why don't we head and do some closing plugs and we'll get on out of here. So, Steven, I hear that Maitre has a YouTube channel and makes content. And Maitre
I've heard that too, actually.
Yeah, it's not about you, Stephen, though. Maitre, go ahead and tell us
You were
about your
talking to
YouTube.
me.
You
You
said
directed it towards
You
me.
said this is about Maitre, Stephen. Maitre, please tell
Hey,
us.
my Trey, I heard you have a YouTube channel.
Stephen, oh my God, it's not about you.
Well, I think they covered it really. So, my place kids, if you want to check out the channel that apparently neither Jeff nor Steven can stop talking about.
Yeah, watch it all the time. It's great. It's fantastic. I learn something new every time I watch a video. I can tell you.
Oh, actually,
That's
what
true.
I would like to say though, because I forgot to say this last time, and it would have been better timed last month, and we have the walk bys in our game, so it feels right. But last month was Indigenous Awareness Month in Canada, and the 21st of June was Indigenous Awareness Day. One of my favorite hip hop bands is Snotty Nose Res Kids, and I highly recommend checking them out. if you're looking for more modern art and that kind of thing. I specifically live on the lands of the Anishinaabe people and formerly on the Mississaugas. So yeah, happy Indigenous Awareness Month and Day.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Stephen, since all you seem to want to do is make it about you, let's go ahead and make it about you. Go ahead. What do you got going on?
Special agent in charge.
Special agent in charge, Stephen. I've got a book that I wrote. There, if I can get it to show up. It's called Huckleberry. It's a tabletop role-playing game, a Weird West game, and it was written on the Amamutsan tribal ancestral lands. And I think it's a pretty good book, and you should check it out by going to huckleberryrpg.com. And if you want to play it, you can go to the Lollygagger Discord, where I'm running playtests. I've got 2 playtests coming up this weekend, and I'll have more as the weeks go on. And it comes out on August 1st. So it's coming up less than a month away.
Very soon. Very soon. And if you're at Gen Con, you should seek out Steven and force him to, run a game of Huckleberry for you in person, or steal one of the books that he might have, or rip the shirt off his back or something like that.
People rip the shirt off my back all the time. That
just get some Huck merch, right?
Ooh, Huck merch.
All right. As for us, next game we have is tomorrow. We have Call of Cthulhu. We are still going to be without long, but we will persevere. But the rest of us will be there as we will continue in our Mexico City campaign, or our Eternal Lies campaign in our Mexico City chapter. Long will be back next week. He's not gone for long. Then Monday we got Alien, and we're crawling through a dark alien pending tech, because our tech blew up, or it blew up last time, but we'll get back to it. Very excited. Tuesday, we should be doing some Frontier Scum. Is that correct, Steven? We good for Tuesday, I think?
Yep, good
All
for
right.
Tuesday. And
Cool.
it's probably going to be the finale.
What?
Ooh.
We're going to eat by sharks like in the first 10 minutes.
If I do my job right.
Yep.
See if you can get in one more kill of one of my characters in Frontier Scum.
Trying to remember Saffron Burrows' line, something. As a side effect, the sharks got smarter. Just shut the fuck up. Like Deep Blue Sea. Just let a shark eat you at the end. It was crazy. Anyhow, and then what else we got? Oh, next Thursday, Simba Room. So come back for some more Simba Room. And Friday next week we got Wrath of Glory, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with deltagreen. And we can see where this crazy nonsense is going. Thank you for running out tonight. Melissa, we had some raids, I think, right? I didn't really see very well, but I think we had some raids. Do you remember?
We had the dinner and a game, I believe, was
There
a
we
raid.
go.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very
all
much
for the raid.
Okay, awesome. We're going to pay it forward. Our buddies at the Magic Corridor playing some Pathfinder, so we're going to go ahead and raid them. Have a great rest of your night. Come back tomorrow. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.